This is a letter to my 20-year-old self, a how-to, please don't, and a you got this. I recently made a video talking about how I escaped my quarter-life crisis. I can't help but to think that if I would have known the lessons I'm about to share with you, it all would have been avoided somehow. But who knows? Perhaps I was meant to learn those lessons so that I could be here right now sharing them with you. Seek God's will in everything that you do and be radical about your obedience to Him. Find joy and contentment with Him, getting to know Him, getting to know His Word. I feel like this is the most foundational piece that if I would have just grabbed a hold of, maybe I wouldn't have felt so much like I was drifting or rootedless. Yeah, I think if I could have learned how to be rooted in Him, if I could have joined a small group or found a good local church to get plugged into and really devoted myself to learning about God and being content in Him, I think I would have had a little more easy transition into adulthood. I remember when I first discovered the art of doing things alone in my early 20s. I would go to the movies by myself, and that was the best time ever. Go to a coffee shop by myself. That was so fun. I remember being so caught up with the friends I didn't have that I think a little bit of my joy in alone time was stolen. However, I'm glad I took myself on those dates and I spent that time alone because it was invaluable for the seasons to come. Be someone who finds joy in serving others. Invest in other people. Invest in people that can't give anything back to you. Learn to serve with your whole heart and soul, and just watch how you develop as a person and how your community can be benefited. Your local body can be benefited by your service. And yeah, the mental development, the emotional and spiritual development that comes from thinking less about yourself and more about others really cannot be replaced by anything else. One thing I wish maybe I found a little bit earlier in life is the idea of minimalism, and not just living with less, but living with more intention about the things that you buy and consume. You don't need as much as you think you do. So I think if I were to tell my past self anything about living with less, I would say think about the things that are actually meaningful to you, that bring you joy. Invest in those things, but don't feel like you need everything. One thing I am so proud of myself for doing in my early 20s was not being afraid to just be myself, authentically and fully me in that season in time.
I was silly, I was creative, and I did things for my soul.
One thing I would say is to be still often. Spend time just sitting in nature, watching the sunrise, watching the sunset, and just be quiet. Spend time hearing your own thoughts, hearing the sounds of the world. And it's oftentimes in those moments that you find a sense of rest. You find that your brain doesn't have to keep working and fighting to be on all the time. Your body needs physical rest, and sometimes sleeping is not the solution to that. Sometimes it looks like just turning off your mind and listening for a while. I find for me, sitting by the ocean when we lived in Florida was my favorite thing to do. I genuinely think the Lord created oceans for calmness and peace, because just listening to the waves and the sounds really brought a sense of stillness. It's something that people are still learning how to do way into their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s, is how to find a stillness in themselves. So if you can learn this now, the peace that you will carry will just bleed over into every aspect of your life.
If you can devote yourself to learning new skills in your early 20s, skills that will really benefit you and a future family one day, I think this will set you up to not only not be wasting your time in your early 20s, but be able to bless your future family and even yourself in the season to come.
When we first got married, honestly, I had no homemaking skills. I am still learning that right now, mainly because growing up, in America, you have access to just ready-made things, and I lived with my parents up until getting married, so I didn't often have to cook for myself, and when I did, it was always easy things. And then going to college, it was just, fend for yourself, eating out all the time. And then when we first got married, we lived in a van, so I kind of had the excuse that we don't really have the space to cook. We had 2 burners that ran off of propane, and I was terrified to use those inside the van, and it's not like you could cook a bunch on that anyway, so we weren't really eating in a lot there either. So it wasn't until we moved overseas, where I have to cook so much from scratch, that I learned the skill of cooking for not only myself but for my family. And let me just say, when you don't know how to do that and you're not used to the time that it takes to chop vegetables and meal plan and do all the things, it's really hard. It is really hard to retrain your brain and get into a mindset of every single day preparing something for a family to eat. Now, to you that may sound super simple, but I'm sure there are things in your life that you could use improvement on. That may be learning to cook, it may be learning to manage your finances, even maintaining a clean space. Like, that is a learned skill. If you're not naturally tidy, it is a learned skill to learn how to create a regimen that keeps your home clean. So invest in learning certain skills. If you are someone who already knows how to cook and clean, hey, more power to you. Learn how to sew. Learn how to sew your own clothes. Learn how to fix a car and do mechanical things. Learn how to change a tire. I don't know. All the adult things that you can think of. Learn how to do something in your spare time that will add benefit to a future family one day. And lastly, be content with right now. No matter how stressful, unknown, or ambiguous this season may be, learn to be present in your current season and be content in it, find joy in it. One thing I really wish I did less of is wish away the season that I was in, because I was so ready for the next season. I was so ready to be married. I was so ready to live on my own and have independence. But in every season, there is something so special about that season. I had the free time to just wake up at 5 a.m., go watch the sunrise on the beach, go to the gym afterwards, and then go to work. And I just lived kind of more freely, and that was a beautiful thing. I cherish those memories that I had. Not that I can't do those things now, but I do have a family. I do have other responsibilities. I am tired more often, so I don't have the opportunity to always do them. So I tell everybody that is younger than me, not married yet, no kids, to just enjoy the season that you're in. Don't wish away this season, but pray about it. Tell God what you want and what you desire for the next season, but soak up the season that you're in, because you will literally never get another one just like it. Anyway, I think that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment below anything that you would give to your past self, or if you're currently in your 20s in that kind of ambiguous time, comment what your biggest struggle is during this time, and maybe we can talk about it. If you are someone who needs a little more guidance, maybe on how to actually look to the future, accomplish the goals that you have, I have a free little prompt guide that kind of helps you walk through the dreams and goals that you have and helps you take steps to actually accomplishing them. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the description. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. From my soul to yours. Bye. Oh, and follow me on Instagram, Earth to Allie. Okay.